And welcome back. Today we have a special treat for you. Live from the campaign trail, Mayor Tyler Mastin of Wichita.
Hi there, John. Thank you very much for having me. It's an honor to be here. Just been out campaigning in western Kansas, been touring the local farms, but it's great to be here.
All right, Mayor, well, let's jump right into the questions. You were born and raised in California. Why did you decide to come to the University of Kansas for college?
I get that question a lot. My dad's side is from Nebraska. My mom's side's from Missouri. So Midwesterner by birth, I guess you can say. Actually, I wanted my original major to be architecture, and like most freshmen, I dropped out and became a political science major and a business major. But also another reason why I went to the University of Kansas is basketball is my favorite sport, and I wanted to go to a school that has a fantastic basketball program.
What is the biggest mistake the current governor has made, and what would you have done differently if you were governor?
Well, there's a lot of things. One, she's of the opposing party as myself, so that's a big one. The other one is actually the budget crisis that we're facing. Both terms of her, we have been in a decrease. That is something that we cannot have. How do you fix that? Simple. Cutting costs, cut government spending, lowering taxes, basic, simple economics.
Your opponent, Senator Billings, has accused you of profiting off of the pandemic. Specifically, he and a number of newspapers in the state are saying that you acted on information you had as mayor that was not available to the public. How do you respond to that accusation?
That is the number one question I get on the campaign that no one cares about, except for my opponent. He is just trying to find me guilty in the court of public opinion. Did I have a meeting? Yes. Was it to talk about financial issues? No. It was talking about COVID. What I did was not illegal. I can do it. Any citizen of the United States can do that. It just so happened to be at the wrong time. Something I have strongly admitted that it was probably not the best time to do it at. But I didn't do anything inappropriate. But my opponent likes to think that he has me on something when really he doesn't.
As you know, the past few years has been especially hard on many Kansans. Some 200,000 Kansans filed for unemployment during the pandemic. Many Kansans lost their retirement savings when the stock market fell in 2020. Yet you avoided these consequences by selling your stock before things turned bad. How can voters trust you to make decisions in their best interests when you haven't been personally affected by this crisis?
Well, you don't have to be personally affected by a crisis to sympathize with those who have been affected. My goal on this campaign is simple: creating more jobs for those 200,000 Kansans who are on unemployment. How do you do that, you may ask? That's simple: lowering regulations. Lowering the regulations creates jobs. The government doesn't create jobs. The government lowers regulations. That is what I plan on doing as governor. That is how I plan on helping those who are on unemployment.
The coronavirus pandemic also laid bare the healthcare challenges facing rural communities in the state, where many hospitals did not have the funds or supplies to adequately care for their communities. Do you still oppose expanding Medicare and other government healthcare services in Kansas? And why or why not?
Do I still support it? Of course I do. This healthcare system is what got us into the situation during the COVID-19 outbreak. How do you fix it? Simple. It's like the Veterans Affairs Department. A single payer system makes it so that there is overcrowding in the hospitals, long wait times, so on and so forth. What do? You create competition. Smaller always works. It gives more chance for the hospitals to be more successful in treating patients and seeing them in a timely fashion.
You've been an advocate for increased funding for Kansas public schools. Given the budget crisis facing the state, What is your plan for increasing education funding? Will it involve raising taxes?
Well, no, I'm not going to raise taxes. I don't feel that the government should be raising taxes. How do you fix this budget crisis? Simple. Cut spending, cut the pork barrel spending that is being ran rampant in our state capitals. My opponent, Senator Billings, is the #1 proponent for pork barrel spending. By creating a system where I can veto pork barrel spending, which is Kansas money that's not going to Kansans, I'm going to take those funds and put it in the departments that need it the most. #1 being education. My philosophy on education is simple. You have to have a strong education if you want to have a stronger future.
The Free State Party has faced criticism for its stance on climate change. The party platform reads, "We don't know to what extent humans are responsible for changing the climate." Senator Billings says you're a climate denier. What do you say to that, Mayor Mastin?
No, I am not a climate change denier. That is another cheap attack from a cheap candidate. I certainly believe that global warming may be something that's out there. I need sufficient proof. And at the moment, I do not see enough evidence that sways me into believing it. Can it happen? Of course. Do I believe it at the moment? The proof that I need isn't there.
The National Rifle Association and other groups have promised to bring lawsuits against the state of Kansas if the state passes the gun control laws you propose. How will you avoid costing the state millions of dollars in legal fees?
I am not here to take away anyone's Second Amendment rights. I myself am a card-carrying member of the NRA. But what I want to do is keep what is already in place, one's Second Amendment rights, but not allow attachments such as bump stocks, extended clips, any device that takes a semi-automatic weapon and makes it a fully automatic weapon. That's what I want to keep out of the hands of every Kansas everyday citizen. What am I doing is constitutionally legal. The NRA has no grounds to sue us. That's what I plan on doing, and that's the promise that I've kept since day one of my campaign.
Now on to a few lighter questions. What is the last book you read?
Well, seeing as I'm a father of two, the last book I read was a fantastic novel about a cat and a giant hat by Dr. Seuss. But personally, the last book I read was a Pulitzer Prize-winning book, Profiles in Courage by former President John F. Kennedy. If you have not read it, quick synopsis, it tells stories about American politicians who have defied their own party to do what is right, something that I live by. Actually, one of our own Kansans, Edmund G. Ross, is in there, and it's a fantastic story. It's something I really recommend to everyone.
Now, last question. What is the most memorable moment of the campaign for you so far?
Well, as you can see, the food's pretty good. That's one positive thing. But the #1 thing that I find the most enjoy out of this campaign is talking to those people who no one has ever even considered talking to. The farmers in western Kansas. Those are the ones that I am proud to say that I've talked to, and that is an accomplishment I feel is great on this campaign.
Thanks for coming on the show today, Mayor Mastin.
Well, thank you again for having me, John. Hopefully the next time you interview me after November, it's Governor Mastin. Thank you. Have a good one.
That was Mayor Mastin of Wichita, Kansas, Free State Party nominee for governor. Now, thank you for spending a little bit of your afternoon with me. That's all the time we have for today. Live from Topeka, Kansas, I'm John Mullaney, Channel 5 News.